Deputy Hill, we're a year down the line now of this spell of the possible illegal suspension of Chief Officer Graham Power, and about £500,000 out of pocket. Can you tell us what progress has been made in this year?
It would appear very little. It seems most of the runnings had to be done now by the Chief Officer himself by going to the Complaints Board for asking something as simple as the dates of letters alleged again or been written about him. I think it's rather poor show, but a year on, quite clearly, something should have been resolved by now.
Does the Chief Officer actually know why he's suspended yet? This is a year on. Does he know the reasons for his suspension? Has he been told?
I gather he hasn't. Again, one only picks up what one picks up via the media as is reported, or indeed I found it very useful going to the Complaints Board hearing. We probably heard a lot more then from the Chief Officer because he was allowed to speak there. But I think one of the sad things about it is this shred of mystique that we don't know what's going on. And unfortunately it also appears the Chief Officer, who was the party of the suspension, he likewise is in the dark.
Well, so one of the biggest what the review board hearing was about, he was anxious to get hold of this information of when a particular letter was created to do with his suspension. Now, it's claimed it was authored on the 10th of November 2008 after receipt of a report. But now it's come about that actual letter was created 2 days before this report apparently even existed. Is that right?
Well, it would appear this is a typical stitch-up where someone feels that someone's guilty of something. So either you arrest them or you suspend them, and then you look for the evidence afterwards. But what you're hoping for in the first instance, really, that this person will go away, the suspended person will go away, accept whatever little jolly is being offered to him, like a golden handshake, and retire and go quietly. And quite clearly, and rightly so, the Chief Officer is not accepting that because he believes that he's innocent. And what in actual fact, in many ways, he's being treated more unfairly than a criminal. Because if a criminal was in this situation, he would certainly know by now what the offences are that he's supposed to have done, and he would certainly have had an opportunity to go before some court to at least let the court deal with it. In this particular case, I gather we have someone suspended who doesn't know what he's suspended for, and he doesn't know when he's going to be able to go back to work.
Crazy. It's now this because it took Chief Officer Graham Power 9 months to get this information required, the authoring of this letter, that when this letter was created. It took him 9 months because the Chief Minister's Department refused him this information, basically saying that it wasn't information. I mean, that was just crazy, wasn't it? But isn't it stated in law that he should have actually been given this information just from a phone call, basically, from straight off the bat?
Well, that would be seem to be the findings of the Complaints Board. But I think there's two issues here. One is the fact that should he have been suspended in the first place, and indeed how he was suspended. It would appear that one, that he was illegally suspended, and also the whole process in which they carried out that suspension was ultra vires. And of course there's the other issue, is what he's supposed to be suspended for. And I gather that's what the Wiltshire Police are looking into, which again has taken almost 12 months.
The Wiltshire Police report still isn't finished yet, or you know, again, we don't know what's happening with that, do we? With the Wiltshire Police Constabulary?
It would appear that we were given target dates that when we'd have the report by May, June, July, August. Now it's going to be October. No, it's got to be November now, because and so it goes on. In fact, I will be seeking to ask a question next week to see what is going on, have an update.
Thank you. That's great. Now, would you think our powers that be just wished Graham Power had retired and gone off to sunnier climes? Do you think they're a little bit peeved that he's hung around and stood his ground?
Well, we're told, and I was present when we had the first debate in the House about it, albeit in camera, that it would appear that Mr. Power was never offered to go quietly. He will say, and I quite understand him saying that, he was offered the opportunity of going quietly. That seems to be the normal process. So if he says that did happen, I would have a belief that he did actually, that occurrence to take part. What I am concerned about actually is the fact that it's the length of time and the cost, not only in financial, but the cost to Mr. Power himself. I think to he and his family to have this longing overhanging his head now for almost 12 months now, 12 months, is totally unfair and unjust.